Good morning. Welcome to episode 51, 3,802 days until I am 40. So today I put the topic as open source, but it's it's in the context of building. So we're building, we're making phone calls, we are reaching out to people about lending and borrowing and also Moraba structures for Bitcoin lending. And also I've been told it's about time I get another haircut. And I'm like, come on, it's only like what 40 days in. I might just zant myself on the sides and then wait for it to go back and then go back to the barber. There is a barber shop here, Crypto Barber on Kingsway, but I've not gone yet. If anyone's gone, let me know what that's like. Um, so back to open source. So open source has been a key driver of technological advancement and collaboration in our most recent history, right? Um, In fact, I think it's an older ancient concept, right? Like community, just putting all your communal knowledge together and building towards like a certain goal. And you'll have different ideas, or arguments, or disagreements, and then you might still stay together, or you'll fork off into a new tribe. And that's what a lot of open source actually kind of feels like. And then there's always people who just like, oh, you developed this tool, let me just use it as part of my tech stack. And um, some give back, especially if that technology is like critical to their infrastructure. They will keep continuing to develop it, um, offer insights, and others will just leech off of it. But I mean, that's how even like torrenting works, right? There's like seeders and leechers, and then there's also I don't know where my mind went, but what I'm trying to say is it's been a powerful approach, and it's also been very valuable. I mean, well, then there's and controversial, I guess, because uh, OpenAI ChatGPT was a nonprofit open source foundation that then is now converting to for profit, and that stirred a lot of controversy because they built a lot of their models with the help from many others. I mean, I remember like Nvidia donated like hardware to them right at the beginning, and Musk's donation or whatever. And then there's like GitHub. Now, I don't actually know if GitHub was open source itself, but I know like the Git protocol is open source, but like the company built around it was not. And then that sold to Microsoft for $8 billion. So like there's real business here, and it's from a corporate standpoint, it's still kind of looked at as like a second class citizen. Like you'd rather just have your own IP and monetize that long term. But it's different in Bitcoin. I think everything in Bitcoin is actually very open source. Everything, like we uploaded a TensorFlow library, which is another open source library. We uploaded it to the Bitcoin blockchain, to the Ordinal protocol, and we spent the money. I don't remember how much it was, probably like $200 to do that. But now everybody can actually reference it and call it and use it in their. Oh, I didn't turn this on. Let's see if that goes. That didn't go. No. And turn it on in their app or Ordinal or whatever they want to build around it. And this comes back to, okay, how do I want to build a business in Bitcoin or Bitcoin lending? And there's people approach it in different ways: fully decentralized, peer to peer, more centralized, VC led. And one thing that I've kind of experienced building businesses now is that at the end of the day, all people want really is better, cheaper, faster. And you got to like just adjust to market expectations or frameworks that are already there. Like starting an entirely new standard from scratch is like is a lot of work. It's not something to build a startup on. It's something to really build a community on, maybe. But really connect with industry and understand what the standards are so that you can scale and better, cheaper, faster. Now, how you do that, nobody really cares. Like, and you can have operational advantages to get ahead in that way, and maybe even like it's culturally important for your company or industry. And like for Bitcoin, free and open source software, which they call FOSS, FOSS, is absolutely critical. And there's a huge advantage in this space to being like fully transparent. Proof of reserves, even like for lenders who keep custody of your assets, like Ledin has always practiced like a proof of reserve. It's like, hey, you can always track and see where your Bitcoin is. This is your address. This is where the Bitcoin's stored, and it's verifiable for all the loans that they have on their books. So we're thinking of doing a hybrid approach. I think there's a very critical component to this business that needs to be centralized, managed. There's liability and funds that need to be that need to be set up, and relationships that need to be maintained. And then everything else around that, though, can be not so centralized and invites community to participate and contribute and build. I put like an outline out on X for how that might be. I can't find it right now. Right, but here it is. So I've been looking at it from three operational standpoints, like CEO, COO, and CTO. And for like the so we'll start with like the CEO, like the executive function, right? I'd say um, like compliance and sales are more closed um, aspects of where you work because you're trying to make sure you know that private information stays private, the right authorities get what they need, the legal stuff are done correctly, and then on the sales side, similar needs, like there's privacy needs, there's obviously a relationship to maintain and build. So those things are core responsibilities that really, I mean, they can be outsourced, but like they need to stay within a border, right? Whereas other things like, updating your contracts or showing what your contracts might look like or even versioning your contracts, doing the accounting. And accounting is a sensitive like it's showing your financials, right? But I really believe like there's a new wave coming where, especially if you are working in an open source world, accounting should be open source and visible and clear, and people should be able to ask questions about it. Not necessarily you'll have always the right answers, but like there'll be a way to find the answer. And then where's the other one here? And then fundraising. Now, fundraising also, this is a bit more of a hybrid thing, but I think also better to just keep open. Um, but I'm listening to advice on this because there is an advantage in negotiating terms where you kind of keep things more private, and maybe that continues to be private, but like eventually you want like the whole tokenizations the of the whole token launch process, right? The TGE, the allocations, the whitelists, that can all be very open, transparent, and managed by the community. Um, if not, there's very specific, very early like VC deals that you need to get done to get things rolling. Everything else can be open source, and I kind of want to do it that way. I think we'll just continue here tonight or tomorrow. There's other like the other roles of COO and CTO, and what cannot, and how to plan for it. Um, and then again, people want more. I found that people want more like for specific direction. And I get it. Like even as a founder, like you're supposed to be self-directed, but you really want sometimes you just want someone to tell you, like an advisor is like, do this, don't do that. But there's a real advantage to being self-directed. There's a real advantage of being self-directed and being given like an area of work, and then you just kind of fill in that role, being ready to be wrong, having your ideas questioned, maybe even like something you worked three iterations of, right? And then only one passes through. Like I think that's normal. I think that's healthy for like a company culture, for even for an open source project. But I guess we'll see an experiment. I think there's some things I want to do better from like my previous works, really better align or create like channels, tracks, and responsibilities and reporting. keep people really engaged that way as they drive towards like the top line goal and or the bottom line. But yeah, it's still new, and I'd love to experiment and see where this leads. And I'll continue on the other two tracks, as well as maybe practice some pitching actually live here, open source the pitching process, and get some feedback on that too. Thanks for listening today. We'll continue again later.